Greetings, welcome back to PinkOddBird. I just wanted to pop on and say we're almost at the end of December, and I hope that you all have had a really nice and warm, cozy, safe holiday with the people who were closest to you, the people who you were able to get to this year. I know this year has been unlike any other that we have experienced before, and I think that we're all really taking it in stride. We're doing the best that we can. We're doing our part to make sure that we get back to what we knew was normal before as soon as possible. And I think at this point, that's all we can really do is just keep at it, stay positive, and let's just keep moving forward. I know that I haven't had a chance to do mini collections this year, so I'm really excited to bring you this last collection for 2020. And again, I do want to appreciate you all for all of the comments that you have left, all of the participation that you guys have done this year as far as prompt week and commenting, emailing me, sending me coffees. Thank you guys so much for you who send me coffees. I love coffee. It's my favorite drink next to water. So thank you all so much for all of your support. All of it means a great deal to me. I see all of you. I respond to everyone. And even when I'm behind on my comments on my channel, I always go back and respond. So even if it's 6 months later. So just hang in there with me. I do get to everyone. I see you all. I hear you all. And I appreciate each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. So I'm really hoping that you guys will all be here to join me for what we have in store for 2020. I have a lot of fun ideas that I want to do. I have some changes that I'm going to implement. And I just hope that you guys will all hang in here with me. And, we'll have another bright year ahead of us for next year. So that's something that we can all look forward to together. So now, as far as this collection, I'm really excited to share it with you all. This is one that really came together quickly for me because it's been in the back of my mind for so long. I've been hanging on to so much ephemera for so long, and so I'm like, all right, it's time to share some of this. So all of these books are going to have the only original copies of each of these pieces of ephemera. I haven't used all of my ephemera yet. I've actually saved some of my other pieces that I hope to be able to scan and bring to you all as digital images. But in these books, you guys are all getting the one of a kind, the only one of it ephemera in these books. So if you're like me, I hope you will enjoy just looking through these books, sitting down and reading and looking at all the cool graphics and things like that. There are ranges from the late 1800s to early 1900s to mid 1900s in these books. So I'm so excited to share these with you. So I think I'm going to stop talking now. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dig in. All right, my friends, here we are with my vintage ephemera collection. That's what we're going to call this. I ended up making 4. I was only making these 3 at first, and then I decided to make this one last really special one. So we will go ahead and we'll look at these 3 first because they're not, I can't really say that they're totally similar because all of the ephemera is different in each one of these. There's no duplicates on the ephemera. They're all the original pieces. So I will flip through and I will show you that way. If you see something that you like particularly more in one than the other, you can, kind of filter that out. So I did make these cute little drawstring pouches, which was really fun. And I chose the fabric for the pouch to match like whatever the most dominant color on the cover of each one was. So that's kind of how that goes. So why don't we start with this one? So opens up really easy. And these are just traveler's notebook size. So here's how it looks. And let me I think that's good. Okay, here is this one. I just have it closed with green sari silk. And they all have a vintage lady on the front. These are the original photographs. I believe that her name is Iris. So we're going to call this little book and set here Iris. And I'm saying that because right here it says Love Iris is what I believe it says. So here she is. I did have to cut the sides down a little to make her fit into the pocket, but This is just a vintage wallpaper pocket. Everything in here, like I said, is pretty much vintage. There are no digital kits in here. It's just all original vintage items or materials, other than obviously coffee stained paper and things like that, and scrapbook paper. So here we have just different materials on the cover, some vintage laces. There's some trim, sorry, silk. So you can get an idea of how that looks. There are a few charms here. There's this little one. There's this little one here. And then there's another little cute green one here with a heart. So really pretty. There are a couple of buttons here. And there's a few other little charms somewhere floating around in here. So I'm going to just go ahead and try and flip through. I have to try and go as fast as I can because there are 4 of these and I want to try and get through as much as I can with you guys. So fabric on the inside, lace, there's some collaging. These are papers, these papers with the writing on them from the early 1900s, and then there's vintage book pages. This little envelope I made out of scrapbook paper, and there are some little pieces in here. I'm going to try not to keep saying vintage every single time because I think you guys get it. So there's an old calling card there and this little clipping. I like this little dance piece. I think it's really pretty. Okay, we have a little crochet butterfly here on the front. And this is like just a little label or little tea card or something like that. So here in the back, these are recipe cards, and then here is an old receipt, Treasure of Dickinson County, Iowa. That's from 1917. Surprisingly, the paper isn't overly brittle, like some book pages get. And then here's just a little piece. I just taped it on in case you wanted to take a peek at what was on the backhand side, but I thought that was really pretty. These handkerchiefs, they have these little stickers on them that say made in, what do they say? They say all cotton, exclusive decoration made in Switzerland. So I just left those on there, and then I folded them up to make them pockets, and then that's a really cute little piece there. So here, a little birthday card to a mighty fine little girl. And you can always journal inside of these. You can open them up. This one has a little baby carriage, so you'd have to untuck that. This is handmade paper from the mushroom market. And then I've just got some wallpaper collaged on top of music paper. And I put this little tag here in case you wanted to put a little note. A little bit of stamping. These old cards. This is National Wax Museum of Lancaster County Heritage. So this is like one of those things that kind of like opens up. I altered one of these on my channel not long ago, but they kind of just open up and have a bunch of little tidbits. It's kind of like a little mini paper website. Informative website is kind of what this is in paper format. So tucks in here. This little postcard is so cute. Little Tim Holtz clips. Just some little extra pieces. These are vintage labels. These book pages, I just folded them up kind of wacky in case you still wanted to read about the flowers or whatever is on that particular page. But I wanted it to look like, you know, kind of just messy. Some tracing paper. Avocado paper from GT Designs. And the ledger paper from her as well. Thank you, Rene. There's a little tab here. This is that notebook paper from the homemade etiquette / manner book that we looked through in the, I think, last video that we were doing here. And then in here, a couple of little pieces. This was just some kind of like little receipt. And then this one is a little, I don't know, I think it's just some kind of little card that was probably in a scrapbook. This is another old receipt from 1918. These are old receipts also. I just folded them in half. So you can use those however you like. And then this pretty little, oh, this little card cracked me up. By household ranges, the Lady's Delight. This was the Lady's Delight. Hardly. So delighted to be able to cook all day, every day, and then clean the stove on top of that. In the center, they all will have one of these little envelopes, and they have something inside of them. Like this one, I think it has, it says Merry Christmas, and then it's a little card. And that one's from 1946, stamped here on the back. Here are the envelopes that I shared a little snippet of on my Instagram stories, but they have this really pretty applique, and then it's just a big pocket here. It's made out of wallpaper. I did leave these pockets open so that things could slide in more easily, but I love these little envelopes here. I just tucked one of those in there for you. It's really nice and aged. And then this is an old mobile service receipt from 1959. This is just an Edith Holden book page envelope, so I'm not going to take it off because I don't think there's anything in it, but that's how that one looks. And some more old, I think these were return checks, I want to say. They're old Bank of America, 1957, from Ventura. Really neat pieces. And then the Pocahontas Automobile and Passenger Transport, Norfolk, Virginia, and it is written on. And then in this little pocket here, we have a little vintage photo of a house. There's a little pocket here for you to tuck something else in. Ideals magazine. Old Ledger avocado. These tracing paper pieces came from the lady who makes house plaques. This is just a little, it has a little wedding gift for you. Little card tucked on there, and like I said, you can open these and journal on the inside if you want. And then this is just a little collaged piece that I made to be a vehicle for this, I guess. There's the other little flower charm. And this is postcard. Salt Fork Lodge State Park in Cambridge, Ohio. And then in here, just some more ephemera. This is the Old Town Hall from 1920. Social Improvement Club. Gentlemen with ladies, $1. Just $1 if you bring in a date. Really pretty design on that handkerchief there. Open it up, and then this is an old piece of a magazine, but they had some really cool readings on some of these pages about like textile art and stuff like that. And just a couple old playing cards here. There's my stamp. And then down here we have a pocket, and it's got a couple more things in it. The pocket itself is made out of one of those old magazine pages as well. There's the postcard with the stork and the little baby. And then here is another wedding gift little card from April 7th, 1946. So that's this one, Iris. Okay, let's move on into this one here. Some more green, silk. So this gal here, her name is Carol. See? And again, she's tucked into one of these really pretty wallpaper pockets. So this little set is going to be called Carol. And I think I used the rest of all that I had left of this. So Bye that wallpaper. So here is the cover for this one. Really, really pretty. And then let's go ahead and take a look inside. So here we have adjustable shoulder straps, and this is obviously very much so vintage. So I just tucked that here into the back. And then again, there are some little bits and bobs in here, little ephemera pieces. This one is the low calorie treat. Switzer's old-fashioned licorice. The most popular coast to coast. Alrighty. Switzer's. Okay. And then again, we have it collaged here on the front. Another one of these. So this one is from 1938. City of Springfield. Oh, look at that cool stamping. 1938 vehicle excise. Another one of those handkerchiefs. And there's a little sticker on there. And this little one is so pretty. And it does have writing on there. Okay, so that's that one. And then here, these are original little pieces that I believe were, I don't know. To me, they look like they might have been colored like by hand. But you can see down here, they're from 1936. And this says Colonel Herbert Aeronet, I believe. But it's a little Happy Easter. Some more of that paper from Mushroom Market. Oh, my machine messed up here, but I just left this anyway because I thought it was kind of cool. This is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Again, this is like one of those little pieces that flips out. I think it has to go in here this way. Yeah. And this is another one of those little postcards. Gal sitting there. This is Vermouth Sweet label. There's the book page, tracing paper, little buttons, ledger, tab, this little piece. Really cute. Gilt Edge in large bottles. Whitmore Brothers, Boston, Massachusetts. So here, this is a little, I don't know, it just says special. Looks like it was an advertisement piece. This is another one of those checks. And this is a postcard, yeah. Really pretty. So here's the little letter for this one, 1945, and this one is actually a letter. Dear Wallace. So here's the little envelope for this page. You can see I put on one of those little vintage appliques I have. Pocket. Two little pieces there. Here's the Edith Holden envelope. This is the little house here. Well, it's more like house/yard. And then we have a postcard back here. This is River Drive, New York. 1906, I believe. Oh, and there's something else tucked back here. One of those, I think that's a piece of one of those return checks. Here is this little piece with the little vintage calling card. C.F. Cronk. And some more of that wallpaper. page. I love this one. This is Sheep Homeward Bound, Greetings from Maine. And there's a little flower charm. Here we have commencement exercises from 1920 and the little multiplication card. And this is a little, I don't know what this is, coat check. And there's the little magazine piece in the back. This one has a walrus and an A. And then in the back pocket here, we have a, this one I believe is from the 1800s. This is, or either super early 1900s, but it's a reward of merit, and it hasn't even been signed. And then here is a postcard of Candy Bridge. And this one is written on. There we have it. There's my stamp. And this, my friends, is going to wrap up Carol. Alright, moving on. Moving on, moving on, move along, move along. This gal, she's got some pink sari silk. And I'm not sure if we have her name. Why don't we call her Jerry? Because I feel like some of the things that came along with her said Jerry, and I don't know if that's her or not, but we're going to call her Jerry. So there she is. It's a pocket envelope, or pocket, wallpaper pocket. Here's the cover on this one. Really pretty laces. I love this fabric here. And then you've got the little crushed little silver trim down here at the bottom. So pretty and dainty. All right. And then we've got our envelope here in the front. Who knows what's in it? There's a bit of cheer. It must have been for, you know, one of the tags on flowers. And then we have this little lady in here, and she's like, yeah, cheer. Okay, so, and then I guess I had enough of these to put in each one of these. They're all different pictures, though. So there's the recipe card, and then here we have the City of Springfield real estate tax and assessments. So that's a cool little piece. Okay. This is an old book page here. Here's another one from 1935. Howdy do, little Lois, I didn't forget. And here's the little handmade paper. These little magazine pages, and all of them have some really interesting reads on them. This one is, Miami, Florida. There's a little postcard. Look at those clogs. There's another vintage label back there. And here, what do we have? The little house. Pretty. It looks like it was snowing. And then here, this little card. Tel Grande Nouveaurie. Granite Ironware, St. Louis Stamping Company. For sale everywhere. And then back here, this is a little congratulations card. So it has a little note in there. The receipt, and then here is the postcard for this one. Pretty little candle on there. And then here is the envelope for this one. Really pretty applique on there with some vintage trim. And then here, this is the little letter piece that comes with it. This one says Season's Greetings, and then there's a little note inside of there. So as you can see, lots of really cool, fun pieces to sit and look through just to kind of like see what was, you know, happening back in those days. So here's the Edith Holden book page envelope for this one. Oh, and then there's the postcard, Thousand Islands. This is Arizona, I guess. I'm not sure. And there's that. And then here's a little recipe piece. Receipt. All right. So as you can see, even though there's lots of fun little bits and bobs in here, there's still lots of places to write. There's still lots of places to do your own collages. Here, there's this little piece. It looks like it was a part of someone's scrapbook that they had just cut and stuck in. So here it is now in your journal. Your journal. And onward, onward. So windows, cloth of them all. Here is this was some kind of little card. Probably some kind of like filing system card or part of a manila folder. There's another one of those little magazine clippings. And then here we have one of these little stickers and then graduation exercises from 1922. All right. And then in the back, we have the little magazine for your reading pleasure. This one has a crab and the number 5. Little playing cards. And then in the very back pocket, there's another one of these reward of merits. And look at how cool this just is, though. And then in the back, we have a best wishes little postcard. And that is it for this one. So tucking it in, there's my stamp, and that's going to wrap it up for Jerry. Okay, so this one is Jerry, this little gal. So we have one last one. Whew. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, you guys, but I really want you guys to be able to see all the cool stuff that's in here, but I also don't want you guys to have to sit here all day. If I can, I'll try and put timestamps to the books in the description box. That way, if you only care to see a specific one, you can just skip straight away to where that one's at. Okay, my friends, here is the last one. This one is a little bigger than the others. Also, this one has a little charm on the front that says wish. It's a little key, metal. And I put this on here because this book is a little bit more special because it has ephemera. It has a couple little other ephemera bits and bobs just to kind of like fill it up a little bit. But the gist of the ephemera in here and the story about this belongs to a lady named Irene. So this is going to be Irene's book. I feel like it is sort of a tale of love and marriage and sometimes the outcome of said marriage. So this one is Irene. She is also clothed with sari silk. This was her photograph, really nicely preserved. And I did not glue this down to the cover, just in case you kind of maybe want to tuck this in the book or put it somewhere else. But if you get this one and you want me to glue it to the cover, I can do that for you. But I kind of just liked having it, you know, off. But look at those blue eyes. So this is Irene. And here is the cover. Really nice, pretty, glossy fabric. And this one is 8.5 by 5.5. So it is, like I said, bigger than the others. So opening up here. Do you realize this is a poem that I put in out of one of the Ideals magazines because it's talking about, do you realize you're my friend and all this and that. And in my mind, as I was making this, I was halfway, because I only had, you know, certain little bits and tidbits that skipped through her life. And so I was trying to like imagine and kind of fill in the blanks with maybe what the little, you know, other pieces of her life may have been like. So, you know, even though her tale, as far as what I have in this book, doesn't end as a happy one in this part of her life, I would like to think that she probably, you know, moved on and had a really long and happy, healthy life. But you'll see what I'm talking about as we go through. So there's a little applique here, and then here is just some old book pages, scraps that I had, and I just sewed a couple together, and I wrote the word Irene on here because this is a book that's kind of dedicated to her and her part of her story of her life. So this is a real vintage bingo card, and then I put this little book page in here. It's really brittle though, so you have to be careful with that. And then there's the handmade tag. So here is Baby's book, and this printed and distributed by the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, and this is what the outside looks like. And on the inside you can see this is copyright 1923, and it's the story of your first year, and I don't think it's written 1918 in here, and I think this may have been the book that Irene's mother started for her, because it says that, you know, like, my mother and father decided to name me Irene Virginia, and I believe that is our gal here. So I think this was the book that her mom started for her. It's not fully filled out, which I have actually found quite a bit in these like old books. But First Visitors, Irene Ingle, I think that may have been her mother, so I'm kind of wondering if she was named after her mom. So kind of or somebody else with the same name, maybe grandma. Her first word was mama. So there are little bits that are filled out in here, but like I said, the whole thing isn't filled out. But really great images in here, and like I said, this is from 1923, so this is, I believe, it's almost an antique. So really special piece there. These are just some little vintage labels that I tucked in. And here we have some old ledger paper that I got from Rene. And again, you can add your own stuff in here as well as do your own writing. Maybe you want to write Irene's story in yourself, or maybe you want to kind of catalog things that you have similar to her. So, you know, I think this is just really, really a cool book. So this is just a little Hermelinda tag for some writing space. And then here we have from 1939, it's from Dooley, and he is the recorder and auditor. And this little piece is her marriage certificate, and this is from January of 1939. So that's a really cool little element. She was from here, California, a little bit more south from where I'm at. Her book does have a few more charms. There's, I think, like 5 or 6 charms on here. And some other little hanging things that I'll go through when we get there. So here is the photo of her, and I believe his name was Herman. So that is her really lovely wedding photograph. You can still see a little snippet of the kind of flowers that they had. And I did have to, again, cut this down. Look at her shoes. I love them. I did have to cut this down a little bit because, you know, it was just a little too wide. Like these were like 8 by 10 photos, I want to say. So some more avocado paper here. And this one I thought was so cool. Like, this is like my favorite piece probably, but it was the little do not disturb sign for their door at Sal Sagi. And I believe this is in Vegas, but it says just married. So this was the actual little sign that they hung on their door. After they got married. I think that is so, like, that's probably like my most favorite thing of all. So here, I think they just took these because they're like just little stationery from where they stayed at. So Sal Sigu Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. So there's a couple of pieces of that in there. So I tucked them in. And just a little old lace here. There's a little old playing card that I added in. So here is another little piece of ephemera that I'm guessing that they saved. This really has 3 of the postcards in here. Maybe they were given these, or maybe they purchased them with intentions of sending them, or maybe they had more and they sent some out from their honeymoon destination. But yeah, this is really cool. These are just old postcards. So this is all that came with it. So I put all of them in here because I actually have the same plan to do the same kind of thing with the Arlene stuff that I have. So I want to keep their stuff, you know, all together. So I didn't keep any pieces of her stuff. So everything that came to me of hers is all in this book. So here she is here. And I just have a big lace pocket, so that's a nice little photograph of her. And then down here, I put this little heart charm. It's kind of like a little rhinestone heart charm. It's metal. And I thought that this would be the perfect little piece to add because this is kind of like her love story almost. So here we have a little sewing pattern paper envelope for you to add some things into. And on this side, well, what do we have here? We have Irene with the little baby, which I'm guessing is probably her baby, more than likely. So as you can see, we've had love, we've had marriage, and we've had the baby carriage. So here is a little collage tag that I made. And then this is one of those little pieces that I added in. You just write your letter in here. And then you mail it out, but look how pretty that is. So pretty. So I just hung it over the page, tacked it all down with a paper clip. So just some old labels in here that I tucked in. Ladies Peddler, I don't know what that was, but something old. And then this was something else that I had added in. Like I said, I did add all of her stuff in, but I added more things that I already had in my stash to go with it. So that's why I'm pointing that out. So this is a lone eagle, but look at, there's a little romantic couple. So I thought it was kind of perfect. Here's how it looks on this side. And then that's the little flyer or the graphic for it. I think this might have been a movie, yeah. A picture of grim reality, heartthrobs, and intensely thrilling dramatic situations. So I think this goes here. Old ledger and old lace. This is a really pretty book page. I put these in case you want to fussy cut them. I had to add some tape here and there because these pages are really old and brittle. Another tag that I made. Little charm up here at the top. There's a big tag here. Flips open. So here I've included, this is not part of hers, this is something that I added. This is a whole 1875 Western Almanac, and this is just a little book. Like I said, this is an actual antique, so you can actually read through this. There's lots of cool stuff to see in here, and since this is well over 100 years old, you can actually make copies of this and use it in your own craftings. So back here, this is a letter to Irene, and this was dated June of 1939. And I don't really know what happened to her. Something happened to her because the letter is from Herman, and something happened to her, and he's asking her why didn't she tell him, and he really wanted to be there for her. And I'm like, this was only, well, they got married in January and this was in June, and already they seemed to be apart. So I'm like, I wonder what happened there. And then here we have another book page, really pretty flowers. So here, this once again is from Dooley and the law offices of Doyle and Clark. And this one was dated February of 1941. And this is, we are enclosing here with a copy of Final Judgment of Divorce. So unfortunately, it seems like their love has come to an end for whatever the reason may have been. But this is what I was talking about when I was saying how in this book her tale does not end happily, but I would like to think that in her real life she, you know, found new love or old love and, you know, lived a really beautiful life. So here is one last little correspondence, and this is from March of 1941. This one was, yeah, February of 1941, and this is March of 1941. So once again, it's from the lawyers. And I'm curious about this one because this one is addressed to Irene. It says, I have torn up that memorandum as per your instructions, and I have the torn pages here in my safe. Do you wish me to burn them up, or do you want to come and take them? So I'm like, what memorandum? What? So I'm like, what did she want torn up? Like, maybe did they not get divorced? Maybe did they stay together? Maybe it was other documents. Maybe, what was it? It's just a mystery. It's shrouded in mystery. So you kind of have to think of your own, you know, it's just a wonder. It's a beautiful wonder. And then in the very back, I added this little poem about renewal because I felt that, you know, whatever the case may have been in her situation, there was something that came along with new life and new hope and new love for Miss Irene. So, and there's one last little heart here that I added on into the back. There's my stamp. So, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. The video was so long, but there was so much to go through here and so much cool stuff to see. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Again, this one is going to be Miss Irene. And I will have all of these available in my Etsy shop on this date, right here in this time. So if you are interested in any of these books, that is when they will be available. And again, I hope you guys have all had a really great holiday. I don't really know what day I'm going to make this live, but I hope you're all safe and well. I hope you have enjoyed looking at this collection along with me. This one really came together, like I said, so quickly and so nicely, and I'm just really proud of it. And I'm also happy to have kind of lightened my ephemera load. You can see how fat these books are. Okay, I think I have held you for long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go, and that is going to wrap it up for me for now. Be sure to stay tuned because you never know what direction this odd flock of ours is heading into. And until next time, toodaloo.